During a clash with a rival pack, my wolf suddenly awakened, revealing a shocking white wolf form. Chapter 12, Anything But Careful. Avery's POV. An unsettling feeling gnawed at my intuition, warning me of impending trouble. Celestial was still shaken from yesterday's encounter with Chloe, where she had taken control of my body. The incident left a sour taste in my mouth, and I couldn't shake the nagging sensation that we were overlooking something crucial. Crystal had been conspicuously absent since the Chloe incident, which only added to my unease. Reluctantly, I dragged myself out of bed, my body protesting against the movement. Despite my aversion to the pack house, a place that held painful memories of past bullying, something in my gut urged me to go there. I couldn't ignore the persistent feeling that something was amiss. I got dressed, selecting a pair of high-waisted shorts and my favorite top adorned with a bespectacled fox. I tucked the shirt in and donned my own glasses, mirroring the fox's nerdy look. It was a small act of defiance against the world, a reminder of my individuality in the face of adversity. Descending the stairs, I snagged a crisp green apple from the kitchen, taking a satisfying bite as I turned towards the door. The sound of thunderous footsteps behind me made me pause. I spun around to find Kyle, my time-oblivious brother, accompanied by his friends Alex and Ryder, their descent reminiscent of a herd of elephants. Kyle's brow furrowed in confusion. "Where are you going this early in the morning, are they? You hate mornings," he remarked, eyeing me suspiciously. I returned his gaze with a blank stare. "Kyle, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon," I replied flatly. "I think you guys have been holed up in the game room for too long." My eyes drifted to his friends, who were gawking at me with expressions of shock. "What?" I asked naughtily, hoping I hadn't unknowingly smeared apple juice on my face or committed some other embarrassing faux pas. They quickly snapped out of their trance, attempting to act as if they hadn't been caught staring at me. As I prepared to leave, I couldn't help but wonder about the strange looks from Alex and Ryder. Was it just my imagination, or was there something more to their reaction? With Celestial's distress and Crystal's absence weighing on my mind, I steeled myself for whatever awaited me at the pack house, hoping that my intuition would guide me through the challenges ahead. "You are it's just your eyes. I don't remember them being that color," Ryder says. "Crap, I forgot to put in my colored contacts." "Oh yay, I remember now," Alex comments, realizing something. "I heard a rumor at school that you had found your wolf during a full-on girl fight with Chloe." "What? You got into a fight with Chloe?" Cole screeches, scaring me half to death. "Well, it wasn't exactly like that, but my wolf took control and started growling dramatically cause she had said something that angered her. We didn't actually get into a fight with our wolves." I tried to say to reassure Kyle that I didn't show my white wolf from secretly without giving away my secret to his friends. "So what does your wolf look like? Can we see it?" Alex asks curiously. "Crap. What do I do?" "Gulp. I mind link Kyle through our connection. She looks just like my wolf, just smaller and with those blue-green eyes. Cause we're twins and stuff." "What, you going somewhere, AV?" Carl tries to change the topic. "Oh yay. I'm heading towards the pack house." "Why, you never go there." "Something just feels off. And I'm going to go see Cher." By now Kyle's friends had gone to the kitchen to grab more snacks. "How do you know something's off?" "Call it a white wolf's instincts," I whispered quietly. Even though his friends were in the kitchen, they are still werewolves with enhanced hearing. "Just be careful and make sure no one sees your wolf form," Kyle warns. Yay. "I'm always careful. See you later." At this comment, Kyle rolls his eyes at me because he knows I am anything but careful. With that, I decided to leave after grabbing a bag that I could put my clothes in when I shift. Celestial has been begging me to let her out for a while now. I run to the forest near our property that leads straight to the pack house. Once I get a few meters into it, I strip and place my clothes in the bag and shift into my wolf form. I pick up the bag in my mouth, then start to run in the direction of the pack house. After 15 minutes, I see the top of the large building holding half our pack. I shift back and cloth myself again and head towards the pack house. There was still a few minutes left to get there, but I shift just in case, making sure no one sees my wolf. Yay, I can be careful. I remark Kyle's comment in my mind. After walking for half a minute, I hear a twig snap somewhere to the side of me. I stop and stand in a defensive stance. I have the urge to ask, who's there? But I know that's what stupid girls do before they get killed in a horror film. I soon catch a glimpse of a grey wolf crouching under a bush and immediately recognize it as one of the pack's guards. When he sees that I've noticed him, he steps out of the bushes, growling in the process. I realize that he probably doesn't know who I am, so I flash him the pack tattoo on my arm to show that I was in the same pack. We all have this tattoo somewhere on our right arm as proof of our loyalty. My pack, the Moon Paw Pack, has the tattoo of a wolf's face within a paw print. He straightens up and goes behind a tree to shift. A man around the age of 40 comes out from behind the tree in his human form and stands in front of me. "What are you doing out here?" he asks me wearily. "I was just coming over from the separate houses to the pack house to visit my friend." I explain to him. "Did you know about the Rouge's appearance?" I tilt my head at him, showing my confusion. "What rogues?" Chapter 13, Missing in Action, Avery's POV Rouges. What if one of them saw me running in my wolf form? No. Surely I would have sensed them, or at least smelt their horrid rotten smell if they were anywhere near me. Right. I look up to see the guard looking at me cautiously, still suspicious if I had any involvement with the Rouges. His nose moves slightly to catch my scent and nods as he realizes I would have their scent on me if I had helped them. "I will guide you to the pack house just in case there are any left." I nod towards him. Thankfully. "Do you know why they are in our territory?" Hoping it wasn't to do with me being a white wolf. We sensed them near the pack house, and by the time we got there from our guarding post, all we found was a note saying, "We took your Luna." Luna? But we don't have one. Our alpha was stupid enough to reject his mate because she was weakened. He had an other girlfriend at the time. After his girlfriend found her own mate, she left him and moved away. After she left, our alpha decided that he would go search for his rejected mate, only to find that she died from the heartbreak as she wasn't lucky enough to find a second chance mate, leaving us with no Luna. And thankfully, due to his alpha blood, he didn't die from the rejection. However, it left him very sour towards other pack members with mates. That's what all our guards wondered, so we figured that it was the future alpha's mate. He explains. "They took Sam's mate." I shouted, which earns a growl from the guard. "Respect him, mutt. He is your future alpha." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Parts out thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. I quietly mumble as we trudge along in the forest. "So why aren't we sending out a search party if they took our future Luna?" I ask shortly after. "That's the thing. Future Alpha states that his mate is his current girlfriend, Chloe. But when we went to look for her, she was walking around in plain sight after the rogue attack. So she wasn't actually taken." "Oh yay. Chloe is dating Sam. But they don't actually act like mates. Chloe cheats on him basically every day and he doesn't give a damn. So who did they take then?" "No one apparently. Us guards think it's just a trap to go and draw the guards away so they can attack. But what they don't know is that the future alpha already found his mate." He explains as if all the pieces fall into place. But to me, something doesn't add up. It just feels like there's something wrong with the situation. Wait, why am I even telling you all this? You're not allowed to know any of this, so don't tell anyone else. The guard starts to freak out like he just gave away the world's biggest secret. All I do is just nod at him and continue walking. I follow the guard all the way to the house, still anxious about the story behind the taken Luna. Being the paranoid person I am, my mind starts to wonder. Could they be talking about my wolf rather than the alpha's mate? Are they trying to say that they are after my wolf? No, they can't be. It no one knows about her except Mum. And Kyle. And Cher. I think to myself. Celestial is being very quiet today for some reason. Just thinking about something, is all she says before going silent again. I just mentally shrug it off and go back to reality to see the pack house in view. I thank the guard and head off towards Cher's room. I knock as heard, but receive no reply. So I open the door and decide to wait for her. But I am greeted with the lovely sight of my two friends having a heated make-out session. I quickly look away to silently gag and clear my throat, making Cher's head quickly jerk towards my direction. Her eyes widen and a crimson red blush forms on her cheeks as she looks down at the pose her and Blake were in. She was currently straddling him on the couch with her arms up his shirt. She gives a nervous chuckle and gets off Blake. Why didn't you knock? She half yells embarrassingly at me. I did. But you didn't answer. I take a seat on the opposite couch to them and continue. Did you hear what happened earlier? She tilts her head. You mean the Rouges? I blink at her several times. How is she so calm about this? Yay. All I heard was that rogues had passed through our territory and that's all. Blake pitches into the conversation. She nods her head to signify she heard the same thing. Oh right, the guard said that no one should know. What's wrong, Avi? You look worried. She asks worriedly. It's just that I have a feeling that we are all missing something. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why are you here? No offense, but you never come here. She says and looks at me suspiciously. Oh yeah, I was looking for someone. Who? Crystal. Why are you looking for that SLU? She goes to cuss and I give her a pointed look. Slug. I meant slug. Sure you did. Blake chuckles at her. She's not actually that bad. She just tags along with Chloe and Holly. She's never actually bullied me, or even looked me in the eyes before. That's true. She's never looked at me either. Well, I haven't seen her for several days and I've noticed that she's no longer following around those two fake or witch Barbie dolls anymore. Blake raises an eyebrow at my use of insults. She's just gone like, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Chapter 14. Future Alpha Avery's POV as I head out of Show's room and lean on the side of the wall. I ponder about the situations at hand. Firstly, rogues have been sighted. Some kidnapped Alpha mate. And Crystal has gone missing. That's when it hit me. The rogues could have taken Crystal as they most likely mistook her for Chloe, as she does follow her around. If that's the case, I have to tell someone, but who? The Alpha. Tell your Alpha. Celestial half shouts in my head. Oh yeah, you haven't met my Alpha yet. Have you, Celeste? He's messed up in the head. On several occasions, he has tried to sell some Omegas to different packers' slaves. He attacked a pregnant mother and killed her pup. He won't let anyone leave the pack unless he banishes them. That's why Mom wanted a separate house, so he doesn't come near us. It was the least she could do for us. I explained to her. Sadly, in any case, I would rather not get near him or even let him know of my existence. I can see why. She growls angrily. We need to teach him a lesson. I wish we could, but we got other things to think of. Remember. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What about Chloe? She suggests, but I turn it down straight away. Not a good idea. She absolutely hates me. She won't listen to anything I would say without abusing me. Plus, I doubt she actually even cares about anyone but Sam. That's it. Sam, he's the future Alpha. He's surely better in the head than his dad. Stella states like she just solved all of the world's problems. Hey, I am a world genius. Thank you very much, she remarks. I chuckle and decide that telling Sam would be the best idea that we have. We don't have many options. I'm just hoping he's not with Chloe. I decided to search the pack hole first as it would be the most likely place he would be at the moment unless he's out in town with the humans. I head towards the kitchen first, only to find Harry sitting at the table with a sandwich in his hand. He notices my presence and looks up. A grin automatically finds the way onto his face. I offer a polite one back as I was in a rush to find Sam. Hey Avery, wanna try my new invention? He states cheekily. It's called Sheila Beef. I chuckle at the name before responding with, I would love to sometime later, but I'm looking for the future Alpha right now. Future Alpha? Oh, you mean Sam? Why do you call his that? I know he is future Alpha, but you don't have to be respectful about it yet. Not until he's actually Alpha. That's what I thought, but I got yelled at earlier today by a guard for calling him Sam. I explained casually to him. Oh well, last I saw him was in the banquet hall. I think he was organizing something. Yes, you heard right, a banquet hall. I thank him quickly. Before running off towards the hall we hold celebrations or alpha graduations, as we call them. When I arrived, quietly knock on the door, and after hearing a come in, I open the large oak doors to reveal a half-decorated hall with Sam standing in the middle of it with a clipboard. I walk over to him, but before I can say anything he rudely says, "Oh, it's you. What do you want?" Sometimes I wonder if he actually knows my name. I just thought you might want to know that I realized that one of the members has been missing for the last few days. Ever since the Rouge appearance. How do you know about the Rouges? He half yells, and surprisingly I don't flinch at his harsh tone. I guess my mind is other places at the moment. Everyone knows they were near the border. After hearing that we didn't know about the note, he relaxes from his previous tense state. Oh, and who may this member be? A young girl. She hands out, with Chloe. Her name's Crystal. As soon as he hears her name he tenses up again. Why should I care about her? She could go die for all I care. He spits out angrily. What, why? Why would he be acting this way? I thought he wasn't as bad as his dad. I thought maybe he might actually care about what happens to this pack. She disrespected the future Luna and refused to accept her as her future leader. After hearing this I was in shock. Crystal was always the quiet girl who just followed Chloe around doing whatever she told her to do. I am not sure why she reacted that way, but I guess she must have had a good reason for it. I am not talking about this any further. I have plans to finish, he rudely says before pushing me out of the hall. With this additional information in mind, I decide there is only one place to go. My secret clearing out past the border's edge. This is normally the place where I go to think or when I get stressed out. Even though it's a bit dangerous having that it's past the border. But it's pretty hidden and hard to catch a scent around it. I don't know why, but it's my place. It's within a cave, which the entrance is hidden by vines, and once you exit the cave you come to a small clearing with a crystal lake and bright green grass. Light filters through small cracks in the rocks, giving enough light to see clearly, but also the effect of light streaking through the cave. Just before I enter the cave, I hear a slight sound. I feel a nagging sense flying around in my stomach, or was that my gut? I decided to focus all my hearing and senses into my surroundings. I listen to the breeze brushing against the leaves and the faraway sound of the lake. Just as I think that it was just my imagination, I hear it again. Help. It has to be. Chapter 15. Breaking in Avery's POV. I start to sprint towards the direction the frail voice came from. I feel the presence of Celestial wanting to shift in the back of my mind, and for once I allow it. Mid-stride I shift into my pure white wolf and run at full speed, only managing to dodge the trees in time. Every once in a while I catch the small voice again, and correction, I'm running in. I don't know where I'm running to, but I know I have to. Let me take over. I can use my speed and enhanced senses to get you there faster, she states in my mind. Get where? I ask, hoping to get an answer. To Crystal. I hear just before I grant her the control to take over my body. When Celeste takes over I feel my presence being pushed to the back of my mind. It was like we swapped souls, but all I could do was see out of her eyes. Celeste starts to get the hang of control my body, and I watch as she picks up speed, and all you can see is a blur of greens, browns, and occasionally a sky blue. With Celeste using her enhanced senses, it was my job to keep us safe around us. I pick up several presences about half a mile away, and more scattered moving presences another half a mile out, surrounding the area. I replay what I'm sensing back to Celestial, and she continues on, careful to stay away from the people surrounding the area so they don't sense us. As we get closer I feel my anxiety rise. Something major's happening. I hear someone cry out much louder this time. Celestial catches this sound and slows down and crouches in a nearby bush. I look up and notice a small torn-down building. I can feel multiple presences moving in small groups around the territory. But what bothers me is that I can feel about 10 underground. Most likely, they're being kept down there. Celeste says to me as she surveillances the area. Who are they? I know there is Crystal, but there is someone else being kept down there, and it seems there are some guards surrounding them. she replies with caution lining her voice. Just as I was about to talk back, she shushes me, and she points a nose towards a middle-aged man who was sniffing the air around the front of the house shack. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Logan, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They must have been the ones who told Crystal. I start to feel Celestial's strength diminishing. Crap. I've used up too much energy in running. I won't be able to hide your scent for much longer. I might have to give you back control soon so I can save up the energy if you want to use your power, she says as her voice grows tired. That's it, my power. I totally forgot about it. I'll let you rest so I can use my power when getting out so we don't get caught. I once again gained control over my body and I saw the man before suddenly stiffen up as soon as he caught my scent. When Celeste was in control, she limited my scent so we weren't caught, but used up all her energy. I didn't know she was doing that until she said it, which is why I was wondering why it was so easy not to get caught. I just thought we were uninjured. But anyways, I quickly jump out of the bush still in my wolf form and tackle him to the ground before he could think someone of my presence. Thankfully he hits his head pretty hard on the ground, knocking him out. I enter the house carefully following Crystal's scent, which leads me to a set of stairs. These weren't ordinary stairs. They looked creepy and run down with its cracked cobblestone and its flame-lit torches following down the stairs. I shift back to my human form and quietly walk down the stairs. After walking for a minute or two, I start to hear some voices. How long are we gonna keep the prisoners for? Not sure about the girl since no one's coming to get her. But the boy we keep for a while since they will show up soon. Who shows? There sounds to be about 3 people down there. You know, the W. Get back to work. Another voice appears out of nowhere and shouts at the others. And one of you go swap with Henry, who is on house guarding shift. And the others go and get the prisoners some food before they die. But boss, the girl refuses to eat or drink anything and the boy just seems like a zombie and is mumbling strange words. Well then, force them to. We can't let our plans go to waste. I hear heavy footsteps walk away from the group of men, most likely their boss, and head in the other direction. Soon enough, the men's footsteps start to head towards the staircase in which I was hiding. Celeste, can I use my power for a quick second? I need to get past these guys without them noticing me. Okay, fine. But really quickly. I don't have much energy. Just when their footsteps start to near and it sounds like they are just around the corner. I go to freeze time when I hear, dude, what's that smell? It's really sweet. Crap, they can smell my scent. I'm in so much trouble. I'll have to knock them out. But I can't take 3 full-grown male rogues. Who's wearing the perfume? I know one of you are cause it so strong. Wait. What? A chorus of not me's fly around and a small smack echoes through the staircase. Just keep your nose out for either an alpha's or a warrior's scent. Then we'll know when they're coming. If they're coming at all. I hear another mumble quietly which the rest of the group chose to ignore. They start to walk again, which I guess is the right time to freeze time. I concentrate on time stopping and everyone except me freezing. I open my eyes and listen for any sounds of movement. Hearing nothing, I move ahead. I slip past the 3 men and head further down. The more I go down the stairs, the more smelly, dark and damp it gets. I unfreeze so Celestial can save up her energy. Once I reach the bottom, I glance around to see around for jail cells, but only 2 seems to be locked and shut. After standing in the flame-lit staircase for a while, it is too dark for my human eyes to adjust just yet, so I take my chances and use my wolf eyes, as the danger was that they glow and it might use up Celeste's energy. Once my eyes light up, enhancing their bright blue and green color, I hear a slight whimper. I direct my gaze to where the sound had come from, and what I see angers me. My anger wasn't really directed at what I saw, but more to what the rogues had done. They UNCURL and look me directly in the eyes and whimper slightly again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Logan, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They croak out. There was Crystal beat, bloody, and tear-stained. Chapter 16, Prisoners Avery's POV. What the rogues had done to her was atrocious. Her body was malnourished and shows signs of slowly healed, bruised and deep gashes. Her eyes are glazed over with her tears as they stray down her cheeks following the swollen red lines from her previous tears. "WH, what are you doing? Gee here." She manages to get out, whilst her teeth were loudly chattering from the cold. She was wearing just an oversized stained shirt. It seems the original color was supposed to be white, but with all the dirt, blood and soak spots you could hardly tell. I snap out of thought and dash over to the cage. I reach out to grab the bars, but she yells at me before I can touch it. "Don't touch it. It's made out of silver. It burns when you touch it." She manages to yell before I touch it. I glance down at her hands, noticing the burnt swollen skin. She had clearly not been trying to escape. I feel Sella start to stir slightly before hearing her voice in my head. "You can touch it. It doesn't probably affect us white wolves. Only a certain type of silver obtained from the moon can cause serious burns. This silver will only send a few slight tingles through your body. It won't hurt," she comments, knowing an awfully a lot about being a white wolf. Wait, never mind, she's a white wolf. Face-palming myself. I look up to Crystal, slightly smiling up at me. I tilt my head toward her, just like a dog would do when she was confused. "You were talking to your wolf. WHA, how do you know found my wolf? You went missing around the same time the rest of the school found out." I stare at her gobsmacked. I could always feel the connection between wolves and their wolves. "I am half-witch after all," she explains calmly as if there was no big deal. "To my agent extraordinaire, Marilyn Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm," which is word banned from mating with anyone outside their species, especially werewolves, as they could become too powerful. I explain later. "Just get me out of here, please." She whimpers softly. "They hang the keys over there." I follow her pointing finger to a small chain of keys hanging on the wall next to a stool. Convenient. These guys truly have no brains. I walk over towards the keys, but before I could grab them I heard a new unknown voice. Although this voice was not demanding, it was soft and hard to hear. "Don't touch them." It creaks out. I turn towards the voice to see a dark curled up silhouette in the only other closed cell. They're silver too. I identify it as a boy's voice almost around the same age as Crystal and I. Well, it sounded like it anyway. The guards normally wear protective gloves to use them. "Don't worry. You can grab them." Celeste's weak voice echoes within my mind. I decide to trust her as she has been a white wolf longer than me. I grab the keys as both the boy and Crystal let out a small cry. I race over to Crystal's cell and quickly unlock it. "Oh, how?" Crystal asks. She is still sitting on the floor with a shocked look on her face. I rush to her side to support her as she slowly stands up, cautious of her injuries. She hobbles out of cell and leans against the wall whilst I run over to the boy's cell, which I also unlock. It seems that his wounds were not as bad, as he could get up properly and need no support. As he walked out into the more lighted area, I noticed that his body was covered in old faded scars that didn't heal properly due to the surrounding silver cages. I look up to his face and our eyes connect. My heart immediately stops. "Mate." His deep sea blue eyes widen as he also realizes our situation. I start to get lost in the waves of his eyes and I feel myself spacing out. Celeste starts yipping and gaining slightly more energy from the closeness of our mate. Then I feel shaking. I snap out of my trance to find a panicking Crystal. I feel presences and voices coming down the staircase. They are in wolf form and are running right towards us. I guess her witch powers are helpful too. I'm guessing that they found the knocked out body of the guard I ran into earlier. Wait, this is no time to be thinking. I gotta get them out of here fast. But I can't yet use my power quite yet. Celeste is still feeling drained. Crap. I guess my only option is to run in my wolf form and hope we'll get past them. I look at both of them hoping they won't freak out, okay? It may get you out of here but you can't freak out, okay? They both look at me confused but slightly panicked. I shift. Chapter 17, Mr. Scar Avery's POV. I shake out my pure white fur and cautiously look up to their shocked faces. Yo, you're... Crystal starts but doesn't finish as she was frozen and didn't move. I look over to mate to see how he was processing things, only to watch his eyes roll back and him start to fall to the ground. He had fainted. Celeste starts to freak out, wanting me to go catch him, and since I was in my wolf form, she influenced my actions. I dash over to him, allow him to fall into my body, causing him to end up draping over it. Celestial also lick his cheek to try and get him to wake up. But personally I think she just wanted to give him a doggy kiss, as I call it. By now Crystal has snapped out of her little trance. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We need to go now or else they will catch us. I feel her hand come to rest on the top of my head, which signifies that she trusts me. I turn to look at her and nod my head slightly. When you touch someone who is in wolf form's head, you create a slight trust bond which you can talk through with. Can you help me get him on my back first? I talk to Crystal through the bond. She nods, then rearranges him so that it looks like he would be riding a horse, but his arms drape around my neck. As soon as his face is near my neck, even if he is unconscious, he can smell my scent, which makes him wrap his arms around it and hold onto it. Crystal then places her hand back on my head. We were both aware that the rogues coming down the stairs will be here any second. Jump on, I say to her as I look her seriously in the eye. No, I can't. I'll be too heavy for you. Just leave me behind, I'll be fine. No, I'm not leaving you here. When will be the next time someone comes to save you? You were here for just a week, and look what's happened to you. Get on. I'm sorry. Both you and your mate are both more important than me. You two were destined to save the world. She goes to remove her hand from my head as tears run down her face. I growl at her slightly, warning her not to remove her hand. She gives me a small sad smile as she only has her fingertips touching. This is when I lose feeling in my body, telling me that Celestial has taken over. No, I cannot save the world without you. Crystal freezes and stares right back at Celeste with wide eyes. What? She manages to get out. You are my guider. Crystal lets out a few cries when she hears this. Just hop on. I am destined to save you first. I gain strength from my mate when he is close. It'll be no trouble carrying both of you. My heart drops as Crystal removes her hand and takes a step back. We hear the steps of the rogue so close we can hear them pounding. Celeste whines slightly and steps towards Crystal. Crystal's tears are still rolling slowly down her face. Then suddenly she runs to us and hugs us around the neck and sobs into it. No one has ever told me I had a reason to be in this world. They all put me down, telling me I was useless. Until now. A small bond starts to form between us. Suddenly a loud growl rips through the air. Both our heads snap towards the sound, only to find a group of rogues behind what looked like their leader. All in wolf form. Their leader was much larger than the rest of them, with a scar running from the top of his head over his left eye down to his cheek. Grab on. I yell at Crystal through our newly developed bond. Crystal jumps up and grabs on tightly to both me and my mate, making sure he doesn't fall off. I turn towards the rogues and growl at them loudly. Some of them look shocked at either my loud growl or that I'm a white wolf. Most of the rogues start to growl back at me and start to advance fully. However, the leader looks like he was trying to smirk in wolf form. But why? Casting this thought aside, I scan for any breakthroughs in their positioning. Finding none, I look around only to find a small entrance behind me, just big enough to fit me through, with the two on my back but not the leader of the rogues, which I'm gonna call Mr. Scar, because why not? Hey Celis, can I use my power or not? I ask as a plan start to formulate in my mind. That seems like the best plan. However, you can only use your power for a small second, as I'm using all my strength to carry these two. That's all I need. I start to back up as if I'm scared as the rogues approach me at the same pace. As soon as I'm close enough to the entrance, I freeze time for a slight sec and then use my white wolf speed to take off through the entrance, or should I call it exit? To the rogues it looks like I've just disappeared, as I hear their growls simmer down and the sound pause walking around the cells. I take off down the passageway, hoping that it'll lead me to the outside. Once again I hear a loud roar and a loud voice saying, "Who left the hatch open?" I giggle slightly at this. The rogues didn't seem to be the smartest of wolves. Not only the rogues but Mr. Scar seems like he is missing a few brain cells. Or should I say most of his brain cells. Chapter 18. I'm not the weak Avery's POV. I race through the passage hearing the distant patters of paws. All I have to do is make my way outside, then Celeste can mask my scent for a few minutes. I check to make sure that Crystal and my mate are all right and are still on my back. I find that Crystal is holding tight onto me as well as my mate to make sure he doesn't slip off. Wondering where this passage goes, I speed up and hope that it leads outside. After a minute of sprinting in my wolf form, I can no longer hear the rogues behind me. I slow my pace down to make it easier for Krytol to hold onto me and my mate. I really should have asked his name before he fainted. It's gonna make this strange and unhelpful commentary that I'm doing in my head harder. I eventually come to a stop and focus on my hearing, just to make sure they aren't following us. I faintly make out their retreating footsteps going back towards the cells. They took me down this passage when they took me from the pack. Crystal explains as she recognizes the wolf-sized passageway. They use it because we can't escape without a wolf, as the silver has made us weak and we can't shift. Luckily, you're a smaller wolf, so even we can get through on your back. However, it should open up a little further ahead so you can save your energy and change back. I send her a quick nod and walk further down the passage. Just like Crystal had said, the passage grew larger so that it could fit our human forms. Thankfully, whilst I was looking for a way out, Crystal had grabbed some of the cell clothes that they had in the holding cell. I shift back to my human form once Crystal manages to safely remove my mate from my back and graciously take the clothes from Crystal. Can I ask you something, Avery? Crystal asks hesitantly. Shoot her. She looks at me confused as though I just spoke another language. It means shoot me your question. I chuckle slightly at my weird language as I try to explain to her what I meant. How do you know for sure that I'm your guider? I know I'm half witch and stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the designed one to help you. She looks at me with hidden tears in her eyes. It wasn't me who knew. It was my wolf Celestial, and I trust her judgment. If anyone would know who it is, it would be her. But I'm not even supposed to be alive. I have no reason to be. Witches and wolves are not meant to coexist in one being. She trails off. Everyone has a reason to live, even if it might not be as big as saving the world. I give her a cheeky grin, and if you would like proof, check out the bond that we created back there. That just doesn't happen between two non-related wolves. It was the goddess doing. Crystal's previously harbored tears are now released and are freely running down her face. She runs over to me and embraces me in a hug that could possibly break my bones if it wasn't for Celeste's strength. Gosh, this girl is strong. Thanks, Avery. You gave me a reason to live just when I was about to give up. She whispers the last part and I barely catch it even though she was so close. Anyway, let's get out of here, she suggests whilst she frantically wipes away her tears. Suddenly we hear a soft groan. We turn around to find my mate slowly waking up. What happened? He asks while scrubbing his eyes. He then starts to look around, confused with his surroundings. He then notices us staring at him. His eyes widen to the size of a UFO. Why, you're a white whoa, he then fall unconscious again. Gee, I add. What are we supposed to do with him? Crystal whines as she motions towards him. I think for a moment. We needed to get out of here fast just in case the rogues came back. However, they are probably most likely to be waiting at the end of the tunnel for us to pop out. Help me put him on my back. It'll be the fastest way of getting out here, I suggest, Crystal. You sure you and your wolf can handle it after you ran with us on your back? She looks at me apologetic. I'll just use my own strength instead of Celeste so she can save her energy for later just in case we run into them again. I explain to her, but she goes to interrupt me. You sir, hey, I'm not that weak, I say jokingly. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbel, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. She chuckles before helping me place him on my back as I give him a piggyback towards the end of the tunnel. As we get closer, I start to feel a large amount of rogue presences in one concentrated area. Celestial tells me to be cautious, especially since we have our mate on our back. We're almost at the end. Chapter 19. Just trust me, Avery's POV. You know the phrase, a bright light at the end of a tunnel. Well, that's basically what Crystal and I are witnessing. However, it wasn't our escape rather than a trap. I guessed right by thinking that the previous rogues that were chasing us had now gathered everyone in their rogue pack, even the patrols, at the end of the tunnel to trap us. I knew it had been suspicious that they didn't put up much effort chasing us in the tunnel. So right now, both Crystal and I are hiding in the shadows that the exit casts. Shouldn't have the Rouges sensed our presence by now? I whisper worriedly to Crystal, who looks surprising calm. That shouldn't be a problem. I used my witch ability to conceal our presence. Now we just gotta figure out how to get out of here without them seeing us. She states, focusing on the exit without even casting a glance my way. "WHA," I say a bit too loudly. She hushes me. A slight shuffling is heard from outside. "Since when did you have powers to?" She looks my way, shocked and confused too. "Wait, you have powers?" Suddenly, the look of realization passes over her face. "Never mind. You are the White Wolf. But yay, I know a few witch spells that I can faintly remember my mother using before she. Nothing special though. Only a few small ones that aren't really helpful. This is the only helpful one." I nod, showing her that I understand. "I guess it's my turn to demonstrate what I can do then." She looks back at me, curious and confused. "Just make sure you don't let go of my hand no matter what," I warn her. I grab her hand as she nods. "Sorry, Celeste, but we're gonna have to freeze time for a few minutes." "It'll be fine. I'm gaining strength from our mate on your back. Just get him out safely or I might regret choosing you," she says cheekily. With that I look over at Crystal. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I picture time coming to a stop and all the rogues and anything I'm not touching freezing. Trusting in Celeste's and my ability, I go to walk out the exit where hand pulls me back. "What are you doing?" "The Rouges are all out there," Crystal whisper yells at me. I chuckle, knowing I froze the time around them. "Just trust me." I try again to walk out, this time with Crystal cautiously stepping out. As the bright light blinds us, we are greeted by the sight of the figures relaxing back on logs and in the grass. Crystal lets out a slight yelp at the sight, and to her surprise none of them moved. "It's all right." I froze time. With that she looks over at me, completely and utterly flabbergasted. Her mouth opens but no words come out, in which she closes it and tries again. She stands there speechless, pretending to imitate what looks like to be a fish. "We gotta hurry. I'm not too sure how long Celeste's energy will last." Crystal perks up a bit, and still not managing to get words out, she just nods at me. We take off, running towards the direction of the pack house with difficulty, as I was carrying my mate on my back whilst holding on to Crystal's hand so she doesn't freeze too. After a few minutes of running, I release time, which makes me wonder how long the rogues will be waiting for before they figure out that we had already left. I shift back into my wolf form after discarding my clothes so they don't rip, as it was easier and faster to carry the two on my back. As we near the pack border, I can feel Crystal becoming anxious. Just as the familiar environment was coming into sight, she speaks up. "Wait." I stopped just before the border between our pack and no man's land and tilt my hand up to look at her. "I can't go back. Could you shift back so I can explain?" I carefully lie down on the ground so she could hop off and safely tough my mate without me growling at her. I go behind a tree after receiving my clothes off of Crystal and shift back to my human form. I come back out to see Crystal sitting down on a fallen log, sadly gazing into the pack's boundary. I walk to her and plop myself down beside her. She looks over to me, biting her lip nervously. I talk back. "I'm not allowed to." At this I look at her like I saw a ghost. "What, why?" She looks hesitant to answer, but reluctantly she does. "Vanished." She looks at me with tears in her eyes. "What? Why would the Alpha do that? But then again, he's a bit mental. But what reason? So they could cover it up without having a mistake." "What do you mean?" "Cover what up?" "Cover up the fact that Chloe's not Sam's real mate. she reveals. With this I was speechless. Having an alpha bond with someone who is not his mate to have them become new was blasphemous against the goddess. Will and was considered illegal. But, wait then, who is his true mate? Me. Chapter 20, something's missing. Avery's POV. Suddenly it all seems clear now. The rogue didn't mistake Crystal for Chloe as the Luna. That they correctly knew who was Sam's true mate. How they knew? Don't ask me. However, they probably didn't expect that Sam wouldn't send a search party for her. Sue, oh wait. Let me get this clear. You're the true Luna of our pack. I suggest hopefully. Yes, that is true. But I can no longer go into the territory. Yes. I shout, jumping around for joy, until I process what she said and a hurt look on her face. Wait, no. Not about you not being allowed into the territory. That about Chloe not being the true Luna. She can barely count to 10, let alone run a pack. If Crystal realizes what I meant. She slightly chuckles. However, what are we gonna do? I ponder out loud. Not we, me. You can go back to the pack. I can just stay out here. I'll be fine, Crystal says slowly with a sad look on her face. Celestial starts to whine in my head. I figure that it's because of what Crystal had said, so I tune her out now. You're my guardian. We are in this together. I state, not allowing Crystal to reject the idea. Follow me. I might have a place you can stay. I show her to my hidden hideout, where I had initially heard her cry out. You can stay here. It's past the border and for some reason, it's hard to track a wolf scent around it. I comment proudly, motioning my arm around the small clearing. I'll bring some food and blankets later on, and we'll also be able to talk through our new mind link if you need anything. Thank you so much, Avery. She genuinely says. But I'll cope fine by myself. I'm part wild wolf after all. I can just shift during the night to keep warm and hunt during the day if I get hungry. I'll be fine, she reassures. Celestial once again whines in my head. Something must be up with her. Maybe I used up too much energy. You sure? I eye her cautiously. Positive. Anyway, in the meantime, I'll try to sort something out to get you to be able to come back to the pack. I say as I start to make my way back to the entree of the cave. Thanks again, Avery. I mean it, she says once again. But I feel like we're missing something. She's right. It does feel like something is missing. It feels like I should be carrying something. Suddenly Celestial barks out in my head, mate. Realization pops into my face. How could I forget? I left my mate back where Crystal and I were talking. Crap. I dash back out of the cave, swiftly changing in my wolf. I faintly hear Crystal shouting my name through the mind link. Sorry. I just remembered what I forgot. I'll be back in 1 second. I GUICKLY say to her, reassuring that everything was all right. However, in my head it was a mental battle. How could you forget about him? Celestial barks. I don't know. So sorry. Let's just hope he hasn't woken up yet and decided to explore. I say sincerely to Celestial. She sighs slightly. I can never stay mad at you. But since I've met him now, I know his scent. So if he has wandered, I'll be able to track him down, she states, lifting a huge weight off my shoulders with me thinking I had already lost him. Since I was in my wolf form, it took a shorter time to get there. I stay in my wolf form as I arrived at the place where we had placed him down. Crystal had sat him on a log she was sitting on. However, he was none there. My mind goes into a frenzy. What if the rogues followed us and took him again? What if the guards from the pack found him and took into the cells? What if he didn't want to be the mate of the wit, Avery? Celestial shouts to gain my attention. It's all right. He has just fallen off the log. With this, I glance back over towards the log to see something hiding behind the log. I walk over towards the log and peer behind it. My mate was casually sleeping on a small pile of damp leaves. I manage to get him on my back and run back towards the clearing, hoping he won't fall off. I feel another nagging sensation in my stomach which makes me speed up. I watch the trees as they blur past. Maybe it was just nothing. Chapter 21, Reuniting Avery's POV. It's been a whole day since I took my mate back to the cave and he still hasn't woken up. Crystal just says that is because he was in the silver cage for so long and he needs to regain his energy. However, Celestial was freaking out, thinking that it's because we scared him too much. I haven't told anyone that I found my mate just yet. Not even Mum. Sure, Kyle. Speaking of him, where has Kyle been lately? I haven't talked to him in ages and he's my brother. Don't tell me he's been captured too. Meh, he's a big boy, he can handle it. Suddenly Crystal's voice echoes through our mind link. Evie, he woke up and he's freaking out, asking where you are. I'm trying to keep him in the cave so he doesn't cross the border, but he's trying to get to you. Okay, Chris said, like Chris, tell him I'll be over in a second. She asks, puzzled. Yay, you're using my nickname, so I gave you a nickname. I explain as she slightly chuckles. You make me sound like a guy. Maybe that was intentional. I cheekily comment. Hey. Anyways, I'll be over in a minute. Hurry, he's freaking out. With that she ends the connection in the mind link. I quickly change from my pajamas into some comfy clothes to go running in. I prefer not to run in wolf form within the pack boundaries, as there could still be guards around looking for the rogues. However, I quickly grab a spare change of clothes, just in case. I loosely tie my brown hair into a high ponytail and take off running once I get outside. Once I arrive at the cave's entrance, I vaguely hear some paws hitting the ground. It sounded close. I concentrate my hearing to where it was coming from. I hear the echoing of the paws, meaning that it was coming from inside the cave. I quickly open my eyes only to see a large black wolf diving for me. He is probably big enough to be an alpha. He quickly pins me down. However, instead of sinking in his teeth, his slobber white tongue finds its way to my cheek. Celestial begins getting energetic and starts to prance and pounce around in my head. So basically she goes psycho. I soon hear some shouting getting louder coming out of the cave. Wait, you can't leave the cave. We have to wait for Avie. Crystal comes running out after outing. But once she notices that the wolf was attacking me with slobber while she calms down. Never mind. I see you already found her. Okay, boy. Could you hop off me now? I try to reason with the wolf, trying to calm him down. Thankfully, I feel the wolf's weight slowly decrease as he hops off me and sits on the ground in front of me, furiously wagging his tail. I turn towards Crystal. What happened? She shrugs before answering. I guess he smelt you coming closer, and then his wolf took over and he ran out. I glance over towards the wolf. If his wolf is in charge, that means that this is Skull. Yes, indeed, Celestial's pair. A male's voice vibrates through my head. I can feel Sella start to try take control, so I allow her in. She quickly shifts and bounds over to Skull, who is in control of my mate's body. Celeste, would you be able to reunite inside the cave? I'm scared a guard might see us. I hear a short sigh and a quick all right, before I can feel myself move towards the cave, with Skull quickly following behind, as well as Crystal looking confused. Once inside the cave, Celestial and Skull run around inside for a bit before allowing me back in control. I go behind a rock and quickly change into the spare clothes I brought. I walk back out to notice that my mate hasn't shifted, nor had Skull given up the control earlier. I am allowing him to rest, as the silver has done a lot of damage to his human side. Skull explains to the mind link. Would you be able to tell me his name? I ask curiously. I will allow him to tell you when he is ready. He responds cheekily. He is just like Celeste. I see why these two are mates. They are both irritating and smart as a kiss. Hey, I heard that. They both exclaim simultaneously. See, they are basically the same. Ignoring them, I turn towards Crystal. How has everything been? Pretty good. But I think the guards at one stage felt our presence around this area. However, I had enough time to hide our scents around the entrance to the cave, so they went to another area. I'll have to be more careful to when I come to visit, I guess. We sit in silence for a while we watch Skull play with the lake's water. I guess it's been a while since he has been let out. Hey Avery, can I ask you to do a favor for me? Crystal asks hesitantly. Sure, anything. Would you be able to tell my parents I'm alright? They will be devastated if I've been gone for how long you've told me. She turns to me with tears in her eyes. Sensing her sadness, Skull comes over and places his head on my lap. I slowly stroke his soft fur as I let her finish. I really miss them too. It would be my pleasure to madam, I say in a fake British accent, trying to cheer her up. Thankfully, it earned a small chuckle from her. Thanks, Avery. You're a real friend. I give her a tight hug to reassure her that everything will be all right. Suddenly a loud voice booms through my head. All pack members must be outside the pack house in 10 minutes. No one is allowed to skip this meeting. Even if you are sick or injured, everyone must attend. Everyone. It was the Alpha, and he didn't sound happy. Chapter 22, Inspection, Avery's POV. I glance around all the pack members that had gathered outside. I spot Kyle standing next to some of his friends. However, I couldn't see her anywhere just yet. Hopefully she can get here in the next few minutes. I walk over towards Kaido and ask him what's going on. I heard that the Alpha from the next territory over's visiting. He's apparently looking for someone. No clue who it would be. Anyways, where have you been the past few days, miss? He gives me a pointed look. I've been at home. Where have you been? I honestly say. No, I mean during the day. I haven't seen you since you went to visit the pack house. He now gives me a suspicious look. All his friends had stopped their conversation to listen curiously. I've been visiting Sher. Other than that, I've been at home. I lie, hoping he will get the hint to stop investigating me. But clearly he doesn't as he goes to ask another question. I'd explain later. The Alpha is coming. I hurriedly say, to get him off my back, and luckily the Alpha was indeed coming over to the massive gathering. Thankfully, I now see that she had arrived in time and make my way over towards her. I finally get to her just as the Alpha is in front of the gathering. Everyone bows to him and he starts to announce what is happening. Everyone needs to line up in groups. The female adults, the male adults, the female teens, the male teens, and the children. Infants who cannot shift can stay with their mother and or father if needed. He points out the spaces where the groups need to line up. Sher grabs my hand and pulls me over towards the area where the female teenagers have started to gather. I situate myself close to the end of the line next to Sher and sadly Chloe's sidekick Holly. She quickly gives me a disgusted look before trying to put a bit of distance between us. Once all the groups were lined up in a straight line, the Alpha once again back up. Now we have a visitor from our neighboring pack. Please welcome Alpha Scott. Upon the mention of his name, a large-muscled man steps out of the pack house to stand next to our Alpha James. I notice on the other side of Alpha James was Sam. I guess it was pretty close to his initiation ceremony. If anyone dare disrespect Alpha Scott, you all know what happens. Alpha James continues giving a warning look to us. We all knew what he meant. If we dare go against any of his orders, we would either be sold to a different pack as a slave or we would be banished. Alpha James takes a step back as Alpha Scott prepares to speak. I am here today in search for a certain wolf. You all probably heard some legends, and I am here to figure them out for myself. I am in search for the white wolf. Oh crap. This cannot be good. Sher squeezes my hand to reassure me, but I don't think either of us will know what's gonna happen. Whispers go around the pack members, some of doubt and disbelief and others of surprise and curiousness. I know some of you probably don't believe in the legend and that the white wolves are fully extinct. However, I saw from my own eyes one just outside your pack boundary. It was too far away to tell what gender it was, but I was carrying someone on their back. I am going around to all the packs to find where this wolf is. I order you all to shift before me. When I come around, anyone who refuses will be taken back to my pack as a slave. This cannot seriously be happening. My brain starts to panic and my palms start to sweat. Sher turns to me and gives me a worried look. Be taken or be discovered. I sense a gaze on me and look up to see Carl looking worriedly at me, probably knowing what thinking. He quickly shakes his head and mind links me. Just shift. I don't want to lose you. What's the worst that can happen? I see both the Alphas walking past each person as they shift. Soon enough they are up to my line. As they get closer, my breathing gets shorter and hands start to shake. My vision starts to blow and soon enough I feel as though I'm going to pass out. Stop. I vaguely hear Celestial's voice echo through my head. Take deep breaths and don't think about it. I take in some deep breaths and count to 10. Soon enough my vision starts to come back. I feel sure squeezing my hand. Both the Alphys was stopped right in front of her hun. Alphys caught murmurs as he looks at her hair. Is this color natural? Yes, Alpha. She squeezes my hand one more time before letting go about it. Is your fur also white? According to your hair. Unfortunately not. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She says calmly. We'll see about that. Alpha James commands. Char obeys and shifts into her light grey wolf. Damned so close, he mutters. They continue moving until they stand right in front of me. I look down as it was disrespectful to look the Alpha in the eyes. You don't seem to have much of a wolf's presence. Alpha Scott comments. Did you only recently get your wolf? Before I could answer, Alpha James quickly says, she never had a wolf. She's a waste of time. Let's move on. Hope's oars in my chest as they go to move on. But of course, the world is hating me right now. Actually, Alpha, she found her wolf a few days ago. Holly speaks up from beside me. Never in my life have I wanted to punch someone in the face more than right now. Oh really, all right then. They come back once again to stand in front of me. He commands using alpha tone, making it impossible to refuse. But somehow it has no effect on me. Didn't you hear me? Chapter 23, being a chameleon, Avery's POV. Freaking out. I quickly freeze time, checking that it worked. I start to pace around to get rid of my anxiety. Celestial, what am I supposed to do? Do I shift? Or do I run? Or do I refuse and be sent away as a slave? I don't know. I start to feel the last panic attack start to come back. But before it can happen, I feel a calming presence stir inside my head. Just take some deep breaths and just listen to me. Close your eyes and focus on my voice. Celestial instructs. I close my eyes. Take some deep breaths and focus all my hearing on her. Everything will be just fine. You have me. I would never allow anything to get out of hand. Just trust me. You'll be able to shift in, everything will be fine. You can do this. I focus on a placid and soothing voice. Soon my anxiety is gone and I open my eyes once more. I'll trust her and shift. They cannot do much to me if they actually do find out I am the White Wolf, and I probably have more authority over them anyway. I walk back into place beside Cher and the rotten orange face Holly. I unfreeze time, and find Alpha James' furious face. For the last time. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I softly say, as Alpha James retracts back to standing beside Alpha Scott. I close my eyes and concentrate on shifting, only for me to hear another voice. Avery, no. Carl yells through our mind link. You can't shift. Well, what else am I meant to do? Refuse and get taken away. I quickly tune him out and focus back on trying to shift. This time I don't have Celestial's help. I will have to try on my own. I picture my human from morphing into one of a wolf's, my nose elongating into a snout covered by fur, and my spine behind over to create the back of the wolf. I imagine fur sprouting from all over my body, just like I say when Kyle shifted. I remember him shifting in front of me when he thought I was a rogue. Since I cannot see myself when I shift, I imagine me shifting the same as when Carl shifted. I force my eyes back open to see Alpha James' face. His face clearly showed irritation and frustration. I look over at Cher to see her shocked face whilst she was still in her wolf form. I'll admit, it looked kinda funny. I looked down at my paws, only for me to see no white at all. They were brown. Both the alphas move on to watching Holly shift. What just happened? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why, you look just like me. Kyle stutters. How did you do that? I pictured you shifting. One sec, let me talk to my wolf. Confused as hell. I decide that Celeste would probably know. Hey Celeste, do you know what just happened? Why the hell I look like Kyle? I hear her chuckle slightly. I think you just found your second ability. My second ability is changing color. So basically I am now a chameleon. Hell yeah. No, you're not a chameleon. You have the ability to turn into any wolf you imagine. And since you pictured shifting just like Kyle did, you turned into his wolf. Or more W. Damn it. I really wanted to be a chameleon. Now that would be cool. I hear Celeste laughing at my weird thoughts. Man, it sucks that she can read them. Hey, it's awesome, you know. It's like I can have my own abilities. Anyway, I should warn you that you can't use whilst you are in your changed wolf form, and to turn into another wolf you must first see them shift. One more thing. How come Alpha James' commands didn't work on me? Shouldn't the Alpha Tone be able to command anyone who is not an Alpha? Thinking back to when he commanded me to shift. Well, yes, it would normally work. However, you are now the White Wolf, which is basically almost on par with the Moon Goddess. Rank, she explains as if it was no big deal. To a agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I feel someone nudge me, so I get close the link between me and Celeste. I need to find out about this rank business. I look up to Seisha still in her wolf form and everyone else in their wolf form, looking towards the front again. I notice the Alpha standing back on the platform to announce once again. Sadly, we didn't find anything. If anyone here knows about where the White Wolf is located, you must inform me immediately, or there will be punishments. Thank you. You are all dismissed now. All the wolves start to head off, and I intend to do the same. However, she grabs my ear in her jaws, not too tightly thankfully, and starts to drag me off towards her room inside the pack house. Carr notices this and decides to follow as well, probably to get some answers for himself.